Dude, first anime of the season. This one surprised me a little. It's kind of stagnant, but the ending made it worth it. So if you like it, and subscribe for part 2. And in the beginning of it all, a team of space agents detect a distortion in space, and then the leader of the group orders everyone to point their cannons in the direction of the marked coordinates and open fire as soon as the enemy ship appears. But before they can prepare, a red light takes over the place, and from there, a mobile knight emerges, leaving everyone astonished. At that moment, a member of the space agents team recognizes that being as the Marauder Count, who is equipped with his black Titan armor. Upon noticing that he is alone, the space agents decide to open fire on the Marauder Count, but before they can hit him, Liam simply finishes them all off and asks his enemies to at least make things minimally interesting. Otherwise, they will continue to serve only as his prey. And suddenly, Liam's assistant, a girl named Maggie, contacts him worriedly, but he makes it clear that everything went as he had expected from the beginning. After all, Liam managed to teleport to the ideal position, managing to catch the enemies off guard, and all thanks to the calculations that Maggie made beforehand. Upon hearing this, she is flattered by her master's recognition of her skills. As for him, Liam leaves the rest of the task to her and asks Maggie to show him everything she is capable of doing. At this, Maggie coordinates the attack of the ships and starts throwing Christiana into the combat area. And when he sees that she ended up arriving late, Liam scolds her, but Christiana promises to make up for her delay by eliminating all those enemies. And he, in turn, says that he will finish off all the enemies alone if she keeps stalling. Then, Christiana goes on the attack and promises that she will fight alongside him with all her pride. Meanwhile, Maggie receives information that enemy warships are within their firing range, and so, she orders her cannons to fire at the enemies immediately, and thus destroys all the enemy ships. As for Liam, he receives a call from Mias, who asks if he is liking the warship from the 7th Weapons Factory, and Liam in turn tells her to leave the subject for another time. After all, they are still in the middle of the fight. But upon hearing this not-so-direct answer, Mias insists, and says that she wants to know his feedback right away, because if he is liking the performance of her ships, he can ask her for another 100 or 200 ships like this one. And upon noticing that the girl will not leave his side anytime soon, Liam tells Maggie to arrange the purchase of some more ships with Mias, and having done so, he returns to combat and humiliates his enemies as he destroys them, calling them all weak and powerless. And in the midst of his angry speeches, Liam lets slip his real motivations behind his evil. In this case, he seeks revenge for his past life, which in his words was completely deplorable and pathetic. He then has a flashback of one night when he returned home and found his wife welcoming him. And after exchanging a few words with Mika, he discovers that his daughter, Kanami, is determined to buy a dog. And although he doesn't have much money to spare to satisfy his daughter's whims, Liam decides to take advantage of his time off to take her to a dog store. And upon seeing him so excited about the animals, Mika says that she didn't expect him to be interested in buying a dog too. In this, Liam says that a long time ago, he had a dog in his family that he loved very much, and ever since he passed away, Liam can't stop thinking about him. Well, another day, he returns to his tiring work routine again, and ends up having a disagreement with the leader of his sector, who starts to have a violent attack on him, blaming him for something he didn't do. And as soon as work ends, Liam follows on the way back home on a subway, and reflects on how toxic his work environment is, and how his subordinates always take credit for his achievements, and to make matters worse, blame him for mistakes he didn't even make. And as soon as he returns home and sees his family, Liam regains the enthusiasm he had lost at work, and decides to always do his best in his professional life, with the sole purpose of keeping his family happy. And well, on another day, while heading to work, he receives a message from a friend named Nita, who tells him about the release of a game. And after exchanging ideas with his friend, Liam turns off his cell phone and walks to work, until suddenly, he runs into Mika, and finds it strange to see her in such a random place at that time. After all, she should be taking Kanami to class at the sports club. But to make matters worse, Liam sees her with a guy he's never seen before. Even though he finds the situation strange, he continues to work. And as soon as he returns home, Liam tries to talk to her about what he saw earlier that day. But in the end, he lets it go because he believes Mika would never cheat on him. So Liam convinces himself that he just ended up confusing things. However, another day, while returning from work, Liam sees Mika and Kanami with another guy. And on top of that, Kanami calls the guy daddy, leaving him even more confused. And when he returns to work, he thinks about what he heard. And even with the horn already weighing to tons, Liam still decides to see it as a misunderstanding, and deduces that the guy is just a friend of Mika. And suddenly, Liam's superior notices him messing around with his work and decides to call him out on it. Liam makes the excuse that his PC is having charging problems, and that's why it takes longer to return after he suspends it. Upon hearing this, his superior simply tells him to stop suspending the PC, but Liam reminds him that during breaks, it is essential that he suspends the PC since he will not be using the equipment equipment at that time. However, his superior insists on being a jerk and tells Liam to stop taking breaks during work so that he won't have to suspend the PC and then wait half an hour to turn the machine back on. Upon hearing this insult, Liam swallows his pride and tries to get back to work, but he receives a call from Mika, who says that Cammy has had an accident. Upon arriving at the hospital, Liam discovers that Cammy will need a blood transfusion, and so he offers to be a donor. However, upon hearing that he has type AB positive blood, the doctor says that only Mika can donate her blood. After all, Cammy is type O positive. Upon hearing this, Liam finally comes to his senses and realizes that he is not in fact the girl's father. And as soon as they both return home, Liam confronts Mika about it and asks who Kanami's real father is. At this, Mika tries to avoid this question using their daughter's situation as an excuse and says that it is not the time for him to ask such questions. However, Liam makes it clear that he has already tried his best not to have to ask her that. And as for Mika, she says that she has been trying her best not to get mad at him. After all, Liam lives only for work, to the point of not even paying attention to his own family. Because of this, Mika and Kanami have practically lived alone for the last 10 years of their marriage, so she decides to take Kanami and leave home. Upon hearing this, Liam asks where she intends to go, and Mika says she will go to the house of her daughter's second father. At this, he steps in front of the door to stop Mika, but Kanami comes out of the room and says that she prefers her other father. Well, the next day, when I went to work, Liam's boss discovers that he transferred 50 million yen to another account at random and then fires him on the spot. After this, Mika uses the fact that he was fired as an excuse to file for a formal divorce and gain custody of Kanami. But on top of that, Mika still makes him pay child support to her. And to make matters worse, Liam is forced to work in construction to pay back the 50 million he embezzled from the company, as this was the only way he could avoid being sued. And as the days go by, Liam continues to work hard at the construction site, as he believes that one day things will get better and he will be able to see Kanami again at some point. But when he looks at a photo of the girl on his cell phone, he starts coughing up blood. And as soon as he returns home, his coughing fit gets even worse, to the point where he accepts that he is about to die. But before that, he receives a mysterious vision, which reveals that in fact, the person responsible for making the transfer of 50 million yen was his own boss. And what's more, this light begins to show him that day that Liam saw Kanami having lunch with Kanami's real father. In this case, the guy was his boss. And to finish burying his face in a shitty grave, Mika starts to disdain him, saying that he made him get into $1 million debt and is still demanding child support from him, even though Liam is not even the father of his daughter. Upon hearing this, the boss is shocked by Mika's perversity, and as for Liam, he starts to cry while begging for it all to be just a bad dream. But at that exact moment, a mysterious man appears there and says that everything Liam has seen is all true. Having said that, he asks if Mika and his boss will get away with everything they did, and Liam, already irritated, says that it won't be like that, because he will find a way to get revenge for all the evil that the two did to him. Seeing all of Liam's hatred and sadness fading away, that being starts to smile, delighting in all that negative feeling being poured out right in front of him. At this point, Liam asks who that guy is, but he dodges the question, saying that he was interested in Liam and his good heart. But upon hearing this, Liam makes it clear that he has gained nothing by being a good man. On the contrary, he has only incurred debts, been betrayed, and even discovered that he raised another guy's daughter. Therefore now, close to death, Liam says that he should have given the finger to the world and everyone and lived in order to seek his individual happiness. After all, contrary to what the saying goes, the humiliated will never be exalted. And upon reflecting on this, Liam says that if he had the opportunity to live a second time, he would live thinking only of himself as a villain who steps on everyone. Upon hearing this, that mysterious man says that he has good news for him. In this case, he informs him that he is there precisely to send Liam to another world, and says that he can call him his guide from now on. Then, the guy starts to explain a little more about the new world that Liam will live in. In this case, it is a world similar to the one he lived in, with the difference that there will be magic, swords, and everything that a fantasy world can provide. Upon hearing about this reincarnation in another world, Liam remembers that his friend Nita was always talking about something similar to this. But as it is something very far-fetched, Liam always believed that something like this could only happen in books. However, the guide tells him to go ahead and choose the new world he wants to live in. And so, Liam decides to go to the world where there are robots and space warships, as this was the subject he talked about the most with his friend, Nita. And well, before sending him to that new world, the guide informs him that Liam will gain the rank of Count. And returning to the present, Liam finds himself in the middle of the fight, destroying his enemies with a mercy the size of an atom. My friends, what can a horn do to the guy, right? He went to another world to become a villain. Although the guy suffered a lot, right? He showed everything that really happened before he died. He could have just killed him. He killed him and took him there. He even went there to give the mercy shot. That's a lot of bullshit. And if you want to continue our angry bull, leave a like and subscribe. And until the next video.